you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Daines.
Chairman Lee, thank you. Congratulations to the nominees for considering these important roles. I also want to invite each of you to come visit Montana. The rest of the world's coming to see us. You might as well join the rest of the world and enjoy the great outdoors we have there in our great state. Mr. Erdos, in 2020, you were reported out of this committee unanimously and similarly confirmed by the Senate by voice vote. And it's our aspiration and goal that we can do it again this time around. Unfortunately, under the Biden administration, the Office of Surface Mining refused to grant permits for 3 Montana coal mines. Thankfully, the Trump administration has reversed course and has now approved the Bull Mountains mine permit and the Spring Creek mine permit, and we expect to have a permit for the Rosebud coal mine very soon. Further, on the 4th of July, President Trump signed the One Big Beautiful Bill into law that specifically authorized coal mining at the Bull Mountains mine. I want to thank the chairman of the committee for fighting for that important outcome and win in that piece of legislation. This was a big win for a lot of hardworking folks in Montana and for these rural Montana communities that don't have the elaborate lifestyle you see on the show Yellowstone. More of Montana is struggling day in and day out to pay the bills every month. Mr. Erdos, when confirmed, will you prioritize reviewing and completing mining permits and implementing the new coal provisions signed into law in the Big Beautiful Bill?
Yes, certainly, Senator, and thank you for the question. You and I actually talked about some of those permits a few years ago, and obviously OSM and BLM have got those through the system relative to NEPA reviews and finalized those, so that's great. Certainly, yes, I think the provisions in the Big Beautiful Bill, there are some in there. The leasing part's not OSM, that's BLM, so we don't lease coal, but BLM does. But as far as the other provisions, royalties, that's a big deal. 12.5% to 7%. So you have a co-operator out there that looks at 20 million tons of coal, and at 12.5%, the numbers don't work. So, but he looked at it at 7%, the numbers do work. So you mine that 20 million tons of coal at 7%, you have those revenues coming back into the country. So at 12.5, you get 0 revenue, and at 7%, whatever that number is, you have coming into the country. So I'm excited about that. I think it'll actually incentivize the industry to mine more coal and more revenue for the country.
Right. Well, there's a revenue piece so important. I'll tell you what, we need more baseload power. We need more energy. I mean, this is really
Absolutely.
An existential threat to the future in terms of our competitiveness and so forth as we think about where we're headed here in the next several years. By the way, Mr. Erdos, Montana recently passed House Bill 587 to update our mine reclamation laws. It's my understanding the Office of Surface Mining now needs to approve those updates and that mines in Montana need that approval immediately. Will you ensure these approvals aren't held up by bureaucracy and are issued without delay?
Absolutely, yes. I spoke to this earlier in regard to program amendments. It's an issue. I understand it's an issue in OSM. We'll work on that right away and make sure that those move through the system as they should. So
thank you.
Short answer is yes.
Appreciate that. Mr. Eisner, as Assistant Secretary for International Affairs, your role will be to advocate U.S. energy dominance around the globe. We have a very important mine in Montana called the Stillwater Mine. It's one of the only primary producers of platinum and palladium in the United States. In fact, it is the only, just on a very short list of a few around the world that do such. We've already lost hundreds of jobs because of Russian dumping. We must reverse this course. Mr. Eisner, when confirmed, will you advocate for the Stillwater mines and their employees? Some 700 employees were laid off recently, and work with your colleagues throughout the administration to take action against unfair Russian trade practices.
Thank you for that question, Senator Daines. I feel that one of my primary responsibilities as the Assistant Secretary for International Affairs will be to advocate for American energy and American critical minerals, both in bilateral as well as multilateral organizations. And I don't know the specifics about Stillwater or what the priorities of the Department Secretary Wright are at this point, but I will always defend both America's and advocate for American product, and I will always advocate against unfair trade practices, should they exist with the Russians or with anyone else.
Mr. Eisner, thank you. One final follow-up question, then I'm out of time. I want to bring up this is getting in the weeds here, Montana, so it's probably one you could take notes on and follow up, but it's the Montana-Alberta tie line. It's a vital interconnector that allows for energy exports into the Canadian marketplace. Unfortunately, Alberta has levied a number of rules and regulations that discriminate against Montana electricity producers and ultimately undermines the stability of our grid. As you know, managing a grid is very, very dynamic and very important. You have maximum flexibility, and this is a problem. When confirmed, would you commit to working with the relevant agency partners to ensure that our Montana energy producers operate on a level playing field in the Canadian markets?
Senator, as you know, a centerpiece of the President's economic agenda is the creation of a level playing field for U.S. exports around the world. And so I have no doubt that a situation as you have described would not be something that I would be eager to take a look at very early on in my tenure should I be confirmed by the Senate.
Mr. Eisner, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.